He brought his friend with him. Hi guys, so I love playing multi-class builds in RPGs, role-playing games for those who don't know. So Fighter Mage Thief in Dungeons & Dragons, or Intelligence Dexterity, Faith Strength. Those are kind of the most common ones. Now the downside is you become a jack of all trades rather than master of none, to quote that old phrase. That's where I come in. I came up with basically a universal build that you can use as a foundation and go anywhere you want. Now there are going to be some differences with classes, so we'll get to that in a second, but since the Thief starts out with a master key, we're going to get to that first. Now some people recommend not choosing the master key on the first playthrough. I'm not going to make a recommendation one way or the other, but I'm going to be doing this walkthrough on the assumption that you don't choose it. I might consider doing a separate video for those who do want to choose the master key. I'll give the reasons why people say you shouldn't. And again, I don't necessarily agree or disagree, but here's basically the justification. It's easier to skip areas with the master key, which means you'll be missing out on things. The other thing is it leads to sequence breaking, so you'll be running into tougher enemies and tougher areas, and it's also just kind of confusing where to go next. I mean, even without the master key, like, you can access the catacombs in New Londo Ruins at the beginning of the game, but they're way too hard for beginning levels, so. But that makes it even worse with the master key. So if you want to take it, that's cool. And if you're going with a thief, then obviously don't choose the master key because you don't need it. So we'll choose the tiny beans ring. Now, I'm going to be going with Cleric. The reason for that is just because we need to get our faith up to use Lightning Spear, but I'm going to be raising intelligence. I probably won't be raising dexterity, at least not for a while. So if you do want to do a different build, there's Warrior. Honestly, unless you want to have access to every single weapon type, and you like the armor, which isn't that great because it doesn't have poise, but armor's not a big thing. All of these armor sets, you can get them very early in the game, so don't worry about Cleric. You have to wait a while unless you want to Cleric's a little bit trickier to get. And Pyromancer you won't get right away, but you can get pretty early. So yeah, unless you're absolutely sure you don't want to use magic. Now there are buffs, so even if you do want to do a melee build, you might still want to use, and when I say magic, I mean sorcery, pyromancy, or miracles, not anything specific. So Knight, it's a pretty good starting class if you're playing the game blind. And if you're playing the game blind, you probably shouldn't be watching this, or you shouldn't watch past. I'm going to be trying not say any spoilers, just so people who only want to watch up until where the areas they've played, I'll try not to spoil anything, but obviously playing completely blind, you won't want to watch this. But yeah, the reason why I say this is one of the good starting classes is because it's the only armor set that has poise. Technically, the Warrior's helmet has poise, but the rest of the set doesn't have poise. Anyway, so that's a good thing about the Knight. But since this is a walkthrough, I'm going to be showing how to get this armor set as well as many other good armor sets, so that's going to be less a consideration. If you want to do a faith build, this is good because it has 11 faith and it has lower intelligence, since if you're not doing you want the whatever stats you're not, basically the rule of thumb, and these classes are pretty similar in terms of stats, but basically you just choose, you want to look at the stats you're not using, go for the lowest. So for faith, you want to look at, for example, lowest intelligence, and whether or not you're using strength or dexterity. If you want to use great swords and ultra great swords, a lot of them do require 10 strength. Yeah, so Wanderer, good for intelligence dexterity build. Thief, I don't know, they kind of have a weird stat allocation. They have both relatively high intelligence and faith, which in this game, unless you really want to use sorcery and miracles, it's not the optimal, but it's only like 1 or 2 points difference. Now the weapon the Thief uses, the dagger, it's not a great weapon, it uses bleed damage, but if you want the weapon, you normally would have to farm. So if you think you want to use daggers, you might want to, in this one particular, you might want to choose Thief so you don't have to do any farming. I'm pretty sure every other weapon you can get without farming. The mace is kind of hard to get, but we're going to be getting the reinforced club right away, which is just as good as the mace. It doesn't look as cool, and you will be able to get it eventually, but like I said, the cleric gear you don't get until later. Yeah, I might upload this as part 0 just because go through tutorial stuff, and I don't know, we'll see. Bandit, so yeah, if you're not going to use dexterity weapons and you're not going to use sorcery and you're thinking you might, it has 10 faith, not super high. It has low attunement, 8 attunement, but if you think you're going to be using big weapons, and you're not sure about spells, it's a pretty good start. Hunter, it's kind of it's similar to warrior in terms of the stat allocation. I think, yeah, it's pretty similar. You start with a bow. That's not the big difference between that and warrior. Sorcerer, if you want to use spells right away. Now, I would kind of recommend maybe trying to use melee, at least in the beginning part, so you get used to the combat system. But if you really want to start out with sorcery, this build is going to focus on using a shield, which will make the combat easier in the beginning. Now, you might still want to practice rolling because there's going to be certain bosses, and rolling's kind of the advanced strategy. Like, it's going to be harder starting out, but once you get good at it, it's more powerful than using a shield, or at least in some instances, and it also just feels better but there's not really any right or wrong way, but I think the easier way is to go with a shield. So we're going to go with the assumption that you're going to eventually raise strength to 16, but you don't have to. I'm going to show a variety of good shields. Like, if you want to go sorcerer, I don't remember if it's 9 strength or 10 strength, but there's a good shield there's some good shields that require low strength, so I will be showing those if you do want to focus more on rolling and distance. Pyromancer, I think it's a good middle road between warrior and sorcerer. You have 12 attunements, so you have 2 attunement slots. You start out with fireball and a pyromancy flame, which you gotta kill normally you gotta kill several bosses to get pyromancy, so that's another advantage of pyromancer. They're also level 1, so you get the most freedom, at least in some regards. You also have higher strength, which is good if you want to use a shield, and 10 intelligence, which isn't super high, but it's a little bit higher than the other melee builds. Like, I think most of them have like 8 or 9, except for Wanderer is good. If you want to go Dex intelligence, go with Wanderer instead of Pyromancer. That's about it for this. So yeah, we're gonna go with Cleric. Just like I said, I want to show how to get the miracles, and there's a way to get Great Lightning Spear and Sunlight Spear without doing any online play, so I'm going to be showing how to do that. You won't be able to until New Game Plus, but there are other spells that will be good to raise your faith above 20 or 25. Oh yeah, one last thing I forgot to mention, which is actually pretty important. The damage for Pyromancy isn't affected by intelligence or faith, unlike Dark Souls 2 and 3, and there aren't any stat requirements other than attunement. So if you're not sure if you want to do magic or not, you might want to choose a class that has low faith and intelligence. Now, there aren't any weapon buffs with Pyromancy, so you might still want to get intelligence up. 15's a good number. There's also Homing Soul Mass, which is pretty good for melee builds, so you might still want to get your intelligence up. But yeah, if you really want to min-max, a level 1 character is going to do as much damage as someone with 99 intelligence and faith in regards to Pyromancy, so that's another thing to consider. You don't necessarily have to choose Pyromancer, but if you want to test it out, that would be the class to go to. So yeah, and for anyone who knows, this is basically a min-max build. So we're gonna... I'm not doing... Will this fit? Oh yeah, so if you want to set the bonfire as your waypoint, or your respawn point, you want to actually rest. In Dark Souls 2 and Dark Souls 3, pretty sure in Dark Souls 3, you just have to touch it. Oh yeah, so I do want to talk out the moveset a little bit. And I'm going to be referring to right hand weak attack as R1, and right hand strong attack is R2. So the R1, you can combo it if you press it again right afterwards. If you roll, it's a different, and if you run, it's if you're holding down run and then press the button, it's a different. Backstep is the same as run. You can also do if you press forward, and if you press the forward on your stick, or if you're using keyboard, and R1, you'll do a kick to guard break, which is, you can knock people off the cliff, but the main thing is if they're holding a shield, it'll open them up for an attack. Then the strong attack, you press it a second time to combo. And if you press forward and that you do a jump attack. So I didn't play this game blind, and I wonder how. I don't know if how much I'm gonna bother doing this. We'll, just for fun, we'll. I've never killed him like this. This isn't really a serious attempt, I'm just kind of messing around. Yeah, I don't want to. So yeah, I'm wondering, what I was going to say is I'm wondering if I would have figured out how long it would have taken me to figure out to go through, because I've seen blind playthroughs, and oh yeah, if anyone's wondering, this is a texture mod on the, you can see the character kind of looks human, even though they're hollow, which, for people who like that, I'm sure there are purists who would just like the whole, or maybe you have a zombie fetish, I don't know, I'm not going to judge if you're. So this isn't the greatest shield. It's not as bad as the Pyromancer. Oh yeah, so the main thing you need to watch out for with the shield, I'm trying to deplete the stamina. So if you have your shield raised, your stamina regenerates very slowly. It's often called turtling, to just keep it raised, so you want to drop it. And what I'm probably going to do, I won't really go into this too much, but I have a weird control setup. In the past I've had guard and lock on bound to the same button. And you might want to open this door.
Oh, you. Here, take this, an Estus flask. Oh, and now I must bid farewell.
I got his souls. I don't know if I'm going to be, like, listening to all the dialogue. And even if I do, I don't know if I'll show it or not. This is going to be kind of a non-completionist. Well, no, it's definitely going to be non-completionist. I'm going to try and show what's useful, but yeah, it's not going to be really, there's already. Oh yeah, the other thing I said, fast rolling is good to learn. Parrying is good to learn too, but because of my control setup, I don't. Okay, so I was gonna. Why am I not backstabbing? Oh yeah, so he has his guard up, so you kick. Now, if you're using a thrusting sword or a curved sword, you won't be able to do a kick, so that's something to keep in mind. Also, if you're using DS fix, yeah. If you're using DS fix and playing at 60 FPS, it messes with gravity. Oh right, I need to show the. Okay, so here's the. So, I was a. Okay, well. you actually, even though like a lot of these bosses look big, you will be able to block their attacks. But yeah, I'm used to just... I usually don't use a shield. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a dedicated block button, so I don't do the turtling that I normally do. Oh yeah, I was saying, so you saw I missed the plunging attack there. That's actually not really my fault. And it's not the game designer's fault either, because the game was programmed to run at 30 FPS. So this isn't like a... I mean, some people want to shit on consoles, but it's not the console, it's just the way the game works. It's just... I mean, it's business. So I'm not gonna... But anyway, so basically the glitch, there's a few other glitches, but one of the main one that's gonna affect gameplay is you... So that has like a shockwave or something, because I was getting hit by... Unless it's just bad hitboxes, but... Well... We're not going to get into Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2 comparisons. I mentioned that in some other videos, but yeah, this isn't the only enemies. Other enemies have sort of a shockwave, so it looks like it's bad hitboxes, but I think it was actually intended. But yeah, so as I was saying, the 60 FPS, it kind of messes with gravity, so you fall quicker. Normally I would have gone forward a bit and been able to do the plunging attack without a problem. And there is a button, I think backspace might be the default key. I think I have it set to control. Yeah, so you can this is at 30 FPS. You can toggle it back and forth. I switched it back. For like, so if you need to make a jump or just a drop, it's a lot easier.
Only in the ancient legends it is stated that one day an undead shall be chosen.
Alright, let's see here. So we got the strength we need for now. And we are going to want to get endurance up. Endurance, unlike the newer Souls games, Dark Souls 2 and Dark Souls 3, it raises both stamina and equip load. And the other thing is heavy armor with poise. Poise works a lot better in this, so... Now if you just like the look of light armor better, there is a ring we'll be getting pretty soon that gives you poise. And if we were getting the master key, we'd be getting that ring ASAP, but we're not gonna do that. We're gonna... So I guess yeah, I'm not really sure how much I'm gonna need. So I'm gonna loot the items here. I'd probably cut most of that out unless it's like a hidden one. Yeah, the stamina and running in this, it's so different from Dark Souls 2. It seems like in Dark Souls 2 you run a little bit faster, but you use stamina up much more quickly.
No, go ahead.
I do like the NPCs in this game. I think they're better than Dark Souls 2, but...
Oh my.
Okay, so I think... So Thurland Talisman was the requirement. Yeah, it only requires 10 faith. So this has a fixed magic adjust. There's also a catalyst with a fixed magic adjust, which means that if you have low faith, it's a very good talisman. And there's also, like I said, a catalyst that's similar. The other good thing about the Cleric is, I don't remember what level of faith, but the canvas one, the one we have, it's going to be better at higher levels of faith. There's like, the wiki has a whole chart if you want to know. Yeah, so something about seek guidance that's interesting. You also see the players, you see more player messages, but you also see the more accurate player rating. Like, you see these trollish messages that have a high rating, but I think what happens, and well, I won't be able to test it because for some reason I'm locked offline, I don't know why. But anyway, I'm pretty sure what happens is with the trollish message, you see it has a high rating, but it doesn't show positive and negative. But if you have seek guidance, I think it shows it more accurately.
Come again. The effectiveness of
So yeah, this is kind of a little secret. There's another way to access these besides dropping down there, but oh yeah, so you can see I had a tough time making the character's face. I tend to be really bad at this, and I made one that I was kind of happy with, and I accidentally reset it, and then did this. It's not going to really matter that much. Probably, maybe I'll know if we'll have a helmet or what. Oh yeah, another thing. I remember to take these off the... I usually have homeward bone. Fire bombs are really good. Now there's several items here that we can grab quickly. I said there wasn't going to be any sequence breaking. I don't know if I really if you want to fight your way past them... Actually, I'm not going to, but the mace actually is one good weapon that works pretty well against them. Okay, so Zweihan is like the ultimate min-max weapon. And we're going to be getting 16 strength, so we will be using it later. You don't have to if you don't want to, I'm just saying. I don't remember if there's anything else worth getting. But I find it kind of fun to run past the enemies grabbing stuff. Even before I got into speedrunning, I'm not nearly good enough to speedrun Dark Souls 1, but I do speedrun Dark Souls 2, and I'd like to speedrun Dark Souls 2 at some point, or Dark Souls 1, but now that I'm playing Dark Souls 3, it's much less a possibility. So you can run down, if you really want to, you can run down to the catacombs and try and grab some more items. I was trying to get back just to the 159 souls, but I really didn't need to. But don't rest at the fire in the catacombs, because it probably won't be that hard to get out, but the general rule, I think there's one more item we missed. Well, maybe more than one, but one more item that I know of that we missed. But anyway, if you get to a hard area, you might want to consider not resting at the bonfire, because oh yeah, okay, we actually have two items. There's this one. There's another one up there. I'm not going to take the time to get it, but like right up there, it's probably just a small soul. Well, you know what? I'm kind of curious. I'm just gonna get it. It's probably quicker just to farm a few souls by killing enemies than to grab these. Oh, but I will. Okay, actually. Alright, I'll see if I can make this jump, but like I said, 60 FPS, it's harder to... Okay, that was actually my fault. I wasn't sprinting when I pressed... So let's see, actually, I don't know if we can get that item yet. Oh, nope, I take that back. Oh my... Okay, well, I'll just cut to where... Yep, I knew it. Definitely not worth it. And once again, we're having our... Right, so you can see this has a higher magic adjust than a regular talisman. Not by that much, but that's because I have relatively low faith. You see this has higher scaling, it has A scaling, so... So right now the Thorlin Talisman, if we had the souls to buy it, would be the better choice. Okay, this guy, a lot of people like Solaire, I like Solaire, but this is my favorite NPC.
Well, what do we have here? You must be a new arrival.
So you can keep talking to him. It's generally good to talk to all NPCs until you exhaust their dialogue. And then come back. This guy, sometimes NPCs have new dialogue. This guy definitely does as you progress. This is where you reinforce Estus, which basically means that your Estus will do more damage, heal you more. So I think what I'm gonna do, upload this as part 0, and next one will be part 1. I'm gonna show where to get some Sorcerer. If you didn't choose Sorcerer and you want to use Sorcerer right away, I'm gonna show where to get that. Now, if you didn't choose Sorcerer and you want to use Sorcery right away,
Well, this is unusual. You haven't lost your head. And more importantly, you're free. How on earth? Well, I'm Rickett of Vinheim. I was once an established smith.
you can also upgrade your weapons, some of the enemies, and if you're going to be farming in Undeadburg, and I'm going to be showing different farming spots throughout this playthrough. So yeah, you can reinforce weapon, you can also make magic weapons, which I might do some tests later, but you're generally better off, even if you're doing a magic build, you're better off going 100% physical and buffing your weapon with a spell. Oh yeah, so you gotta repair, and it doesn't sell a lot. If you really want to do magic right away and you didn't choose Sorcerer, it's the way to go.
Come back soon.
But this is going to focus more on the melee, or how to succeed, because it would be, I'd recommend, this guide is for like doing a multi-class, but you're going to be better off, you're eventually going to find it more satisfying, at least in some regards, to doing melee, and it's also just going to make some of the game easier. Like, some of the people say magic is easy mode. Oh yeah, and remember to remove these from your hotbar. People say magic is easy, but that's, in some cases that's true, but I'm going to show how having weapons can be more useful in certain areas. So this is, I said I'm not going to show any sequence breaking, which generally I'm not, but this is kind of a, and we're just going to die, because that's quicker. We don't have any souls to lose. We don't have to worry about getting any more hollow. Does this get added? That's good they don't add that to your hotbar. That would be the fire, if they added the Firekeeper soul, that would be. So we're gonna, oh yeah, and one thing about farming, you randomly get humanity, not the, do we have any? Okay, this is what people call either solid or hard humanity. And now you see the upper left corner, there's a 0, that would be called soft or liquid humanity. And it basically functions as a stat. And that's what you can get randomly from enemies. I don't think all enemies drop it, because I remember I was farming in Darkroot Garden, I just wasn't getting humanity. But, so it might only be like living or like undead. Hi guys, so this is just a quick post commentary. I did decide to do some videos about the Master Key. So the upcoming videos in this walkthrough, I'll be doing the same areas and bosses as if you had done the Master Key in the Master Key videos. Now the Master Key videos, they're going to be a quicker pace, so if you're a beginner, even if you chose the Master Key, you might still want to just watch the videos in this walkthrough first before you watch the Master Key videos. But anyway, I'm going to stop it here. I'll post a link in the description once I get the Master Key videos done. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm sure a lot of people are happy guard break goes back to kick. What happens if I... What? I got a chime? Really? I have two Cleric chimes.